What up, though, y'all? It's Chris, broadcasting to you from the D. And it looks like Joy Taylor's time at Fox Sports has come to an end. Ever since she got named in that lawsuit last year, that Skip Bayless lawsuit with the hairstylist, I figured that they were going to get rid of her, but they had to be very strategic about it because it got revealed that she was trying to Me Too Charlie Dixon, the dude in charge. So yeah, they were gonna have to get rid of her a couple of ways. It was gonna have to be on some her contract is up and they're just not gonna renew it, or what they're doing now, which is your show's not hitting, so we gotta cancel it. There's just no way to justify keeping it around. You see, when you're dealing with somebody like this who you already see has the capacity to attempt to do some Me Too nonsense, you must handle it strategically, which they did. So I got an article here. Um, it's with The Athletic. It says Joy Taylor out at Fox Sports as network cancels 3 shows. Joy Taylor is out at Fox Sports as part of a series of movements that will also see the network's cable arm FS1 cancel Speak, the show Joy Taylor co-hosts, as well as his 2 morning programs, sources briefed on the decision told The Atlanta. The 3 shows struggled to find a huge audience promoting the cancellations, according to sources briefed on this decision. I mean, listen, people can hate on what's his name, Stephen A. Smith, all they want, but dude knows how to bring in viewership. And these other shows, they just don't be hidden like that. Think about this. Skip and Shannon show, even when it was at its peak, we talking about how Shannon was like really on the come up. When that show was at its peak, it still wasn't touching First Take in terms of viewership. And then that show came to an end because behind Shannon's exit, the show was tanking tremendously. So Shannon ends up over there on First Take and they go to the next level. So it was just like there was First Take and all these other shows. They just really wasn't hitting like that. And Joy Taylor, listen, I have nothing against Joy Taylor, but she's not very good when it comes to sports news. She's not. She never has been. And honestly, when the whole thing came out about her allegedly hooking up with Emmanuel Acho and Charlie Dixon, that really answered a lot of questions for people because people were wondering how this woman, though attractive, she's not really good at this. So how does she keep getting all these opportunities and how does she get promotions? Pretty young lady, she's like 38 now, so she's kind of aged out in terms of the motion that she had over there. But we're talking about years ago. Pretty young lady, she keeps getting all these opportunities in spite of the fact that she doesn't seem very qualified. How is that working? So that really did answer questions for a lot of people. But let's continue. Taylor, 38, has been in headlines over the past year as FS1 has been embroiled in harassment allegations against its former top programming executive, Charlie Dixon. In one of the 2 lawsuits, Noshin Faraji, that's the makeup artist, accused Dixon of sexual battery, and the suit alleged that Taylor told Faraji to get over it. Taylor denied the allegation. Dixon has been out of the network since late April. Taylor denies it, but let's just be for real here. Don't that sound like something that she would say, especially when she herself was seemingly playing the vixen card to advance? She like, look, I'm doing this and that, and look what it's doing for me. It's just part of the game, which it is part of the game. I hate to say it, but it's part of the game. When you have a young lady with seemingly no real resume in terms of doing this sort of thing, but she keeps finding herself getting promotions and more opportunities. It's not really hard to figure out how this is taking place. This is just part of the game. Women have always done this. Women will continue to do this. If it's a woman and she wants to climb the ladder in a certain space, if she is willing to leverage her body in order to do so, then she's going to be able to do that. She has to be willing. And, in the case of Joy Taylor, she really didn't see a problem with it. She was okay with it if it meant getting a bag. And there's going to be more women behind her that are going to do this. That's just part of the game. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. That's just part of the game. Women are always going to leverage their assets for promotion, for an advantage. It just whatever. It just is what it is, man. Don't be mad at the player. Be mad at the game. That's why when all this stuff was coming out, I just laughed about it. I didn't really trip. Taylor co-hosted Speak with Keyshawn Johnson and Paul Pierce. Taylor's contract was up and not renewed by Fox Sports after she had been with the network for nearly a decade. So I guess they went with the first option that I named, which was her contract is up, they're not renewing it, and to boost why they're not renewing it, they like, hey, them shows that you doing for us, they not really hitting like that anyway. So it was like a double whammy. This absolutely was strategic because now they don't have to deal with her. They don't have to pretend like, you know, they no longer have to pretend like that she's this great host of a sports show there when she really wasn't. She's been there for nearly a decade, and now all of a sudden they're laying her off or they're not giving her a contract extension for something that has been an issue since the very beginning. That's how you know that dude Charlie Dixon was behind her having a seat at the table, because she's literally being let go for the very thing that's been an issue this whole time. But let's see. FS1 also ending the morning show's breakfast ball and the facility. Fox Sports declined to comment. Colin Cowherd's The Herd, which begins at noon. And First Things First with Nick Wright, Chris Broussard, and Kevin Wiles at 3 p.m. will continue in their time slots. FS1 will likely produce new shows in places of the cancellations. Honestly, if I could be really real with y'all, Colin Cowherd show The Herd ain't really that great either. And the what speak for yourself, or no, First Things First, mind you, I'm sorry, Speak for Yourself got renamed to just Speak, which is now gone. But these FS1 shows, they're not very good. Like, I'm just telling y'all, as someone that really likes sports and would watch these shows, they're not very good. The best thing that they had going on over there at FS1 was Skip and Shannon, and in my opinion, Skip blew that up. Skip loves to say that FS1 pushed him out. Fox pushed him out. No, if he got pushed out, it was because they seen the tension between the two of you from the animosity that you had, the clear animosity that you had, that his star had eclipsed yours. People were now tuning in for him because he was funny, he was charming, he was charismatic, and your ego couldn't handle it. And you're now taking pot shots at the man live on television because you hate the fact that he's now the star and you're not. The sun is setting on your career and it's rising on his. I mean, it couldn't have been any clearer. So that was the best thing that they had going on. That came to an end, and that was Skip's fault, regardless of how he wants to try to blame FS1. And that left them with all these lesser quality shows that, I'm sorry, they just aren't good enough to hold the network up. All three shows were created under Dixon. Breakfast Ball featured Craig Carlton, Mark Scureth, and Danny Parkins. It marked Carlton's second show at the network after leaving his WFAN Drive Time program 2 years ago. I've never even heard of that. A return to WFAN is not out of the question for Carlton, though. WFAN has continued its dominance in the market, with Tiki Barber joining Carlton's former partner Evan Roberts on afternoon drives. Chris Oliverio, I'm not sure who that is, who brought Carlton back to WFAN or WFAN, whichever one you want to say it, after Carlton served a prison sentence for fraud. Ooh. is chief business officer of the station's parent company, Audacity, and oversees WFAN. So it says the facility is hosted by Emmanuel Acho, Chase Daniel, James Jones, and LaShawn McCoy, and began less than a year ago. So the thing is this: Speak was not hitting. They brought in Keyshawn Johnson. They brought in Paul Pierce to try to help the show out because Joy Taylor could not carry the show on her own. Joy Taylor, though the biggest mouth, though had the most to say, all the opinions, regardless of how ridiculous they were, she wanted to be the star so badly and she couldn't do it. So in an attempt to save the show, they brought on these other, former athletes, but oftentimes she'd be saying something ridiculous and they'd be too scared to check her because if they do, they're being aggressive or whatever. So I don't know. Ultimately, I'm not too surprised that this is happening. Ultimately, I think that they would have did it sooner if they could have. And it just is what it is, man. You got Joy Taylor on up out of there. That's what they were waiting on, and they were finally able to execute on that front. So I think she knew this was going to be happening. I think she saw the writing on the wall. I think that's why she's been in a lot of other stuff. She's been on different podcasts a lot lately. She's tried to do one herself. I don't know how well that's working out for her. I've tuned into something here and there that she's been on. And to me, she's not that good at that either. Like, she'll talk a bit about relationships or whatever, and I don't think women really want to tune in to her for that either. I will give her this, though. She gave some free game. Well, she basically just told us, just confirmed what we already knew. And that was about the women on social media having all these opinions about what a guy has to do. A guy can't do this, a guy can't do that. They won't date a guy that does this and does that. And she was basically like, if the guy is fine enough and has the money that you like, you're going to throw all them standards out the window. I mean, we knew that already, but I did appreciate that she was at least keeping it a buck on that. So I'm going to leave it there, though, you guys. Hit me with a like if you like what I do. Hit me with a sub if you like what I do. And hit me in them comments. I'm going to holler at y'all. Peace.